All right, so your Goal Zero Sherpa 50 starting to act up a little bit, just like this one. This is one I just bought it off of eBay. It was brand new, still in the box. It's perfect. A couple problems with it though. First of all, when I push the power button, nothing happens. And that tells me that the battery protection mechanism, which is located here, we'll look at that in a few minutes, is isolating the batteries from the LCD display. None of my power ports, of course, will work because my battery is probably near dead, or in this case, completely dead. The way I know it's completely dead, you take your LED and you try to light it up, and you notice not even a dim little glimmer coming out of there, telling me my battery inside of here is completely dead. The first thing I want to do is take my charger and just plug them in blue to blue. Everything lights up. Beautiful. Yes. But when you look at him on the little window display, I hope this is showing up. A couple of things become apparent. First of all, the battery is not charging. The 20% symbol, it's not even working to do that. And on the right hand side, I have an error symbol. That's a battery with an exclamation point in it, telling me I've got a serious problem with my battery. Sometimes you don't get this symbol, you get another one that's located right here, and I'll power him down and power him up to show you. It's the fuse symbol. And it looks like that. So one of those two symbols will be blinking, telling you that your batteries have been completely isolated from your charging mechanism. So no matter how long we leave this charger in here, we can leave it in there a year. When we come back, it's not going to charge. It's going to be blinking exactly like that. Let's take a look at the batteries for a minute. Let me unplug this guy. Inside of here are 6 of these batteries. These are wonderful. These are the 18650 series batteries. They come in a variety of different capacities. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. They store a lot of energy. A couple of things about them: they don't like to be overcharged, and more importantly, they don't like to be over discharged. When we discharge them below 20%, it actually causes damage to the battery, permanent damage, unrecoverable damage. The other thing is there's a limited life cycle on these. Goal Zero, when we bought these things, they're like 199 bucks new. They say you can get 1,000 discharge cycles. And after having worked on hundreds of these things, I can tell you the most you can hope for is about 300 discharge cycles before your batteries internally will go bad. What do they do? What happens when you go bad? Well, let's take a look. It says right here on the case, when you get the battery fail, contact Goal Zero. And I'm here to tell you, when you contact Goal Zero and say, can you replace my batteries? The answer will be no. Is there anybody that can replace my batteries? And the answer is no. So as far as Goal Zero is concerned, these are basically disposable items. And I don't agree with that. I think there's got to be a way to fix them, and there is. Let's try to fix this guy. I found very often there are 3 things we can do. We can try to basically use 2 different jump starting techniques, and then if that doesn't work, like it's not going to work with this guy, we'll do a complete upgrade. I'll show you how to do that. The batteries are not normally user replaceable. It's a little bit difficult, but it is doable. All right, let's look at step number 1. Let's try to jump this guy off. The first thing I am going to do is take my charger and leave him plugged in during this whole process. The second thing I'm going to do, you will need a chaining cable available, hopefully, from Goal Zero, and it goes right into the chaining port on the side here. Now, the reason we're going to try this is because this plug goes through the charging and battery protection circuitry to charge up your batteries. The chaining cable does not go through that circuitry. The chaining cable basically connects the battery pack in this unit to the battery pack in this unit. And this one is fully charged. So I'm just going to take him like that, and I'm going to plug the chaining cable in. And if this works, when you look at the bad unit, after about 2 minutes, that symbol will go away and the 20 will start blinking. And what will happen is it will take the energy from this charger, or from this battery pack, and equalize with the battery pack in this old unit. Hopefully it will work. This one will not. I've tried it earlier. So we got to move. If this doesn't work for you, now we got to move to method number 2. We're still going to jump the batteries. Let me move this guy off. Take that off of there. How do we do that? We got to jump it internally. So turn it over upside down. Get yourself a 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench or Allen screwdriver and remove those 4 screws and then pop your cover off. Come out of there. Okay, we've got that last screw out of there. All right, at this point, what you want to do is give it a good wrap on the side, kind of angle it like that until you can get your fingernail into the crack. And then start to lift them up. Once you've got it up, just kind of lift it straight up. Try not to break it. And just set it off to the side. The side panel here only goes in one way. So do yourself a favor. Get a magic marker. Put a little mark on it so you can, when it goes back together, it'll be a lot easier for you. Just pull straight up on that and set him off to the side. We're not going to need him. This bottom plate slides straight toward you. Just slide him back. And now that's it. We've got the battery pack completely exposed now. There's one thing really holding it in, and that's these 2 little black wires. Let me get a probe here. These 2 little black wires connect to a thermistor, which is held down with white glue. Go ahead and pull off this Kapton tape and very gently take your time. Remove that little thermistor. It's just a piece of wire. You're probably not going to damage it. The easiest thing to do is take your probe and slide it under it and then pry it up. So go ahead and do that. All right, let's get back to our battery pack. All we're going to do, we're going to just grab him and you kind of fold him off to the side. And let me turn him right up like this. And right away you notice that there's more than 2 wires here. And that's okay. I'll explain them as we go along. First of all, the important one. We got a ground wire here, which connects to these 2 cells. And you can peel all this back and take a close look, but the terminals are exposed, so you really don't need to do that. On the top here, you notice we got a red wire, and he is going to be going right here. In fact, let me pull that off because we need access to that. So let me pull this all the way off and set him off to the side. So positive, negative. The 2 that I didn't explain are this yellow wire and this green wire. The yellow wire connects at the midpoint here, and the green wire attaches at the midpoint over here. And that's because it is quite a sophisticated battery charger. It's what's called a balance charger. So that when we apply the electricity through that blue cable, it doesn't put all the electricity into, say, one battery. It equally charges all the batteries at the same time. Right now, we don't need access to those. We need access to the black one and the red one, because what we're going to try to do is take a voltage supply or a charger. We're going to connect it here and see if we can't charge these batteries up manually above the 20% level. All right, what I've done here is set my power supply on 11.1 volts, and then when it gets loaded, you can see it went down to like 10.5 volts. We're putting out 2.2 amps feeding into our lithium-ion batteries. Plus to plus, minus to minus. I'm not going to worry so much now about balancing. I really just want to get the battery pack above 20%. It's been going for about an hour right now, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off my power supply and see if indeed we got it above 20%. So power up, and let's see what she does. So far, so not so good. All right. This one, apparently the batteries are, even though it's brand new, are completely dead because it was allowed to discharge below 20%. So about half of the time this will work, but in this case, we got to move to step 3, which is just to upgrade the battery pack. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, since we're going to be replacing this old battery pack with some new batteries, we might as well take advantage of technology. These old batteries were rated at 2,600 milliamp hours each, and 4 years ago that was probably state of the art. Today, which is the end of 2017, this is state of the art. And these are Panasonic NCR 18650Bs. These sells for $5 each on eBay, and they are rated at 3,400 milliamp hours each. So 2,600 up to 3,400. So that's about a 38% increase in power. What that tells me, again, I know everybody loves math, but we're going to go back here and take a look at this. It's all, the old one was 5,200, so that's 2 2,600s in parallel. 3 of them hooked in series makes 11.1 volts. That gives you 15,006. What we're going to be doing is connecting 2 of these in parallel. So 3,400 plus 3,400, 6,800 milliamp hours. Pretty good. And instead of 58, let's see if we can find it here, 58 watt hours, we're going to be jumping up to 75. Again, about a very significant 38% increase in storable power. What I'd recommend you do is go ahead and do a drawing or take a picture with your phone of this so that you can unsolder it and then use this as a pattern to put your new batteries together. You can either solder them. In my case, I have an ultrasonic spot welder. What I recommend you do is you first connect them in parallel first. So I have 3 sets in parallel. And the way I do it is I used a piece of nickel strip. I simply put it on there And again, you can either solder it or you can use an ultrasonic spot welder if you have access to one. So let's do that first, and then we'll continue building the pack. All right, I got these guys all paired up. Now, the next part's kind of important, so be sure and look at your model before you start soldering these together. Make sure the plus goes back through him and back through him, so negative over here, plus over there, and everything connects just like those 3 D cells. Pay attention to how it stacks as well. So we don't just stack him there and put him on top. He actually leans up against him like that, and that will make an identical battery pack to what we need to replace. All right, that new battery pack is done. I've done a couple of things here. First of all, this is a good time to go ahead and put the insulating material on both ends of this, whether it's electrical tape or Kapton tape like I've used here. I also soldered all of my terminals on using the bridging piece of nickel there. I just soldered it on and then bent it over. And before I bent it over, I put a piece of insulating tape beneath it, just in case there's anywhere I don't want any chance at all of shorting. All right, we are almost done. All we've got to do now is take the terminals off of the old battery terminal and solder them onto the identical terminals on our new battery pack. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, I've got everything soldered on there, and I went ahead and covered it up with a piece of insulating tape again, just a little bit of extra insurance. All right, we put some energy into this, and before we put it all back together, I want to make sure it works. So very carefully, just bend it like that, and push the power button, and indeed, I have to pick this up, so hopefully you can see that. We have a 20% charge. I want to make sure it is working, so I'm going to take my charger, stick them into the blue port, and there we go. We are indeed charging. We don't have any fuse error, and we don't have the battery with the exclamation point. So go ahead and, before you get too far down the road, unplug everything, power him off. We don't want any power flowing. And now we're going to start putting this back together. So all you do is you roll it back over exactly the way it was before. Make sure you put this thermistor back in place, and I'm going to hold them down with a piece of electrical tape and then reassemble the case. Very easy to do. Let's go ahead and do it. All right, there you go. About an hour of our time, $30 worth of brand new batteries. We have not only repaired what Goal Zero told us was a disposable item, we've actually improved it. We made it 38%, gave it 38% more capacity and power. What a great deal. I know it's a lot of trouble, guys, and it is. It takes a little bit of practice to put these things together. If you don't feel like you're up to it, please don't throw your Goal Zero, your Sherpa 50 or 100 away. Please consider sending it to me so that I can rebuild it and donate it to the Boy Scouts. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'm sure they would too. Anyway, I hope this helps some of you guys. Maybe you can recover your Sherpa 50 and get it back in business. Appreciate your time.